afternoon, brothers, sisters, ladies, gentlemen. Welcome to the BNN 247 Network, Black News Network 24/7. I came in early today because I wanted to just thank you all for a banner year in 2024. I'm out on travel, so don't look the part today, but I will speak the part. But thank you so much. We've done 59 shows this year, and we've quadrupled our viewership by 300%. It looks really nice. So, thank you so much for being part of the Black News Network and our effort to bring you the information that's needed out here in this world today, because it is just so different depending on CNN, depending on Fox News, depending on Trump supporters and Biden supporters and Kamala Harris supporters, to focus on what's really going on in our communities. We have so many little bitty things that keeps Black people from progressing in a normal manner. We don't go out looking for folks to harass or to target, or we don't look for topics that are controversial or topics that make people mad. We look for topics that are pertaining to the progression and the growth of our people in our neighborhoods and our Black folks. And of course, I know being Black is not Black is an adjective. Basically, that's all I want to say. Black is an adjective. African American is not a nationality. Black is an adjective, not a nationality. But it's so important to know, for us to know, that as long as we keep denying who we really are and what we really are and where we really came from, then we will continue to have the problems in Black America that we've had all along after slavery, after the Civil War. The mechanisms are in place for us to change our trajectory as Black people in America, but it's not going to change unless we implement this trajectory. And from the looks of things, we're not going to get in a hurry to implement this trajectory. So the question is, what is it going to take for us to start to think about where we are going with this type of lifestyle for our descendants? And believe it or not, our descendants are what what's what's going to be most affected by our inability to change our trajectory. You know, people say that it's not that important to jump in and correct other folks when they make mistakes about what we're trying to do. But sooner or later, we're going to have to say something, because if we don't, we're going to end up right where we've been for a long time, for half a century. You know, Claude Foster and I have been at this for quite a while, and we've been around the world a few times, and we know what we're talking about, and we're just trying to bring you information to give you an insight on where we need to be coming 2025, because you've heard and I've heard Project 2025. We've both heard about it. We've both read about it, and it's important that we pay attention to what people like us are telling you. So, without further ado, I want to say first, I'm going to do a disclaimer. The thoughts that you'll hear about our topic today, which is powerful Black women and their husbands. Uh, Let me just add one more word in there: powerful Black women and their white husbands. Hey, it is what it is. I think we need to know why our powerful black women chose to marry white men. It's important. So I'm going to go ahead and get us going and invite our co-host in, Mr. Claude Foster, and we'll get our show on the road, as well as my opening statements about what our topic is going to be about today. But again, I want to say thank you for a banner year in 2024. Like I said, we quadrupled our membership. Our subscribers on YouTube is over 100, or I think it's like 89, 90, but we've had some come in and go. We want to bring this up in 2025 to at least 500, and I think we are going to be able to get that, because the content that we're bringing to social media, we're bringing live to you and offering you the opportunity to interact with us as we discuss what our plan is for year 2025. And it's not our plan, it's a plan for Black America, a plan for us to change our trajectory. So, love has no color. That's what some people want to try to make us believe. But in this topic, we want to kind of go back and figure out what caused our blockage, because that's exactly what it is. It's blockage in our minds that don't allow us to see what's actually happening out here. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA, bringing you the news from a Black perspective. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to the music. Let me get that right. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. And like I said, I'm on travel, but I'm still here, and Mr. Claude is still here. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to some and present to others Mr. Claude Foster, who's part of our dynamic conversation about powerful Black women, and we're going to discuss some Black men too, and why they chose to marry outside of their race, and their reasons, and their good reasons. And we're going to figure some of them out, and we're going to discuss some. And I'm not talking about the average fly-by-night marriage where a Black man marry a white woman, or a white woman marry a Black man, or anything like that. I'm talking about people with millions and millions and millions of dollars choose to marry outside of their race. And when they go, then all of the assets that they've acquired no longer belongs in the Black community. So let's introduce Mr. Claude Foster into our show and thank him for being a member of the Black News Network 24/7. Mr. Claude, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I sure can. So I want to thank you again for closing this year out with me. This is 2024, huh?
Yeah. Well, I see that you're in a kind of reflective mood in terms of your opening statement. You know, let me just start off by saying I'm Black. Okay.
Okay.
I just want to put that out there first. But you know, it is the end of the year, and you do become reflective, and you're thinking about where we are as a people, where we got to go as a people, and essentially how we get there, even how we discuss it in getting there. You know, I listened to my Congressman Al Green this morning. I was really impressed with him. He was on C-SPAN. He's an African American, 9th Congressional District here in Texas. And for the first time, I had an appreciation for a Black politician. You know, he's a former NAACP president, and you know, they was asking him about the raise and how he was one of the first congressmen, him and Maxine Waters, to call for Trump's impeachment, and how the press, the mainstream media, never give Black folks credit for nothing, for no significance in history. And he was talking about the blacks, the Confederate soldiers that got a Medal of Honor or something back in 1950 something that fought in the Civil War, but the Black soldiers that fought in the Civil War ain't got shit. They never got nothing. And so, you know, just kind of reflecting on all that, and then I saw our show subject for today, and it's just kind of brought it all together, you know. Um, the Ensemble Theater, if you get the chance, the Ensemble Theater is hosting, uh, uh, I can't think of it, the Camp Logan. It's planned for 2 weeks. The whole play, Camp Logan. San Antonio played a part in that because that's where the trial was held for those soldiers that, defended themselves here in Houston from racist cops, shot up the town. And so that's going to be playing in January for 2 weeks. So this is our month. This is our time of the year to shine. We got Kwanzaa going on now. We got Martin King Jr.'s birthday. So, while white folks are resting from the holidays, we get to celebrate ours.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting. What the show, the subject for the show, I didn't get a chance to do any research. But what perspective are you coming from? I mean, what?
Go ahead.
I mean, when I first read it, I said, well, like the reason why a lot of Black women get hired in corporate America, in business and government, is because of their Black skin, and they meet the they meet the visible test, like a marketing thing. It's like they're marketed, but they don't have no voice, typically. But I think you're talking about the more powerful women, right?
Yes, you're right. I am.
Yeah.
I'm talking about women. Let's start. I want to start at the top. Ketanji
Brown Jackson.
And Kamala Harris. Those are the top two most powerful women in America right now. Black women.
Right.
And allegedly Black women. I'll put that in there so we don't have anybody saying, well, she ain't Black or this, that, and the other. I'll leave it at that. We're not discussing her Blackness or anything else. We're discussing that she is Black and going from there. And the reason I picked that is because I didn't understand, and I still don't quite understand the mentality behind this love triangle thing where Black women don't seem to understand the root and the leaves of this type of relationship. And there's, people love who they want to love, and I could care less about it one way or the other, but I think it's worth discussing how it came to the point where the trust factor has been doubled down on with Black women when it comes to white men, but only in this level that's way up here, way above my head. And I want to kind of dive into it and understand why is it like this? Because, there are some powerful Black men out there that would love to marry within their own culture, but for some reason they never do, and I really want to try and understand it rather than bash it and beat it up. And I kind of got an idea, but I don't know. And I want to know. And I want us to have a discussion, and maybe it'll help me understand it better, and as well as you and anybody else that don't understand why powerful Black women marry white men.
Well, let me ask you this question. You can only pick one, okay? And they're both beautiful, right?
Right.
And one of them is 25 years old, no kids, submissive, got a GED, and makes $15 an hour. And the other one is 35 years old with 2 kids, bossy, and got 2 degrees and makes 6 figures. Which one are you choosing? And why?
Which one am I choosing?
Yeah.
Shoot, man, that's $1 million question. And that's, I want to go back to this. When I said love has no color, when I say color, I mean money and part of the color.
But given the dynamics between Black men and Black, which one of those women are you choosing?
Which one would I choose just off the cuff?
Yeah. The 6-figure, the submissive one that works at.
I think I'd take the $15 an hour woman.
Why? Because that why may be why they turn to white men.
Huh?
That why you chose to submit the one that's making $15 an hour don't have a college degree over the one that's six figures, two advanced degrees, may be the reason why those type women marry white men.
Because of the less controversy, the less this discussion about who wears the pants and all that good stuff. And hey, if it pops out, I'm gonna come back in on my phone because I think my laptop is charging perfectly, but you never know. I just switched to an Apple MacBook Air, and I'm trying to make sure I get it where I need to be, and it might pop. If it goes off, I'm gonna come back on my phone, so I'll be right back if it goes out. I don't think it will, but it might.
But go ahead. Expound on your
You saying go ahead. You white man. Huh?
No, I'm saying.
What you say?
I gave you two choices of two women, two black women. I said one had a GED, works at Home Depot. The other one's got advanced degree, six-figure income, 2 degrees, is bossy, and you chose the one that works at Home Depot. Why?
Yeah. Why did I choose the one working at Home Depot?
Yeah.
I think that I chose the one that worked at Home Depot because it's less stress for the man. And I don't want to say that that's the case for. Huh?
Okay, go ahead.
What you say?
No, I'm listening to your response.
I don't want to say that is the case.
I think we're going to get a lot of women on this show. Depending on what your response is, black women going to be dialing in on this show.
I don't want to say that I chose the $15 hour woman because I want less headache and less controversy. I'll say I picked the $15 an hour woman because I don't think I would.
Be careful. Be careful. Be careful.
At this age, I don't want to go through somebody trying to redefine my life or
pretend like you pretend like you.
I'm just out in the market looking.
Pretend like you're 40 and you got to choose between one of those two women. You saying that you would choose the one at Home Depot because she's not bossy, she's down to earth, less stress, less bossy.
That's right. I did say that, and I can tell you why I say that because I don't want I don't need to be redefined. I don't need six figures. I don't need a woman with six figures. I need a woman that respects her man and honors God's word. In the way the system is supposed to be designed. And, we don't say what we really want to say when it comes to us defining our relationships, because if we really did, we would not, we would be real understanding of how the Bible intended for us to be when it comes to us picking a mate, but if we really paid attention and if we really honored the Bible, then many of the things that happen right now would not be happening because the Bible is very vague when it comes to this, but it does have some very specific situations where women are doing what they're supposed to do, and that's being submissive to their man, and men having the opportunity to have as many wives as they want, because you go through the Bible, you're going to hear it on so many occasions in the Old Testament. But what's different now? The only thing different now is man's perception of how we need to be living. And the only thing that changed the way the Bible indicates how we live is man's law. That's what changed the system. Man making altercations and changes to the documents and the doctrine set out by God and the Bible.
So
we want to honor the Bible when it's convenient, and we don't want to honor the Bible when it's inconvenient. Like right now, if we had two wives, that would be inconvenient, and we would call that polygamy and everything else. But when Solomon had all these concubines and all these wives and all these children, and nobody said anything about that story, oh, he's a damn sodomizer, or this, that, and the other about him. They left it alone. Why are you leaving it alone when it's so illegal today? Who made it legal?
But you brought up Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Right.
She's got 2 or 3 degrees.
Yeah.
She's everything that I just told you about, that comparison.
Yeah.
So it is the fact that she is in a space, or black women get in a space where there's just not enough, where there's not comparable black men around.
I don't think that's the deal. It can't be the deal. You can't tell me a beautiful black woman got to go out and find a white man in order to solidify love.
No, I said comparable black.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, because it's plenty. There's so many. You can't. What I'm basically saying is, don't try to tell me that there's not enough black men out here.
No, I didn't say not enough, but you got to readily admit a lot of black men are locked up and behind bars.
Yeah, but why would I? If that's the case, and a lot of white men are locked up behind bars too. So that does not take away the fact that my standard is for my future grandchildren and their grandchildren and so on, is that I want to bring them up in a way where they don't have to fight for who they are. They know who they are. They know their history, and they live by and according to their history. And it's all about, to me, the children, because I think one of the biggest problems with children today is they're confused about who they are, where they came from, what they're supposed to represent, where do they fit in. Some kids just don't know. And when they don't know, they are subject to anything. And that's where the problem starts. And they do all these things to fit in, and they get in trouble, and they end up losing their way. But I look at people from the South more particularly, as far as why some black men choose white women, or I want to stay black and white. And I say that because, and I don't know, because I've never thought about that particular situation, being married to a white woman or anything else other than a black woman. I've never even been in a serious relationship outside of a black woman. And I think that is because I kind of want my lineage, my future people, when people talk about me in the future, I want them to be able to talk about me without having to bite their tongue and not having,
But I think when you talk about relationships, though, I don't think the race or the nationality come into play. I mean, a woman at some level is a woman.
Why wouldn't that come into play?
Because you don't think about it.
Who don't think about it? As a black man growing up in the South, you know as well as I know that there's always a situation with black and white. And
but I don't. But as someone that have had that experience, I never thought about it. I mean, I didn't see the woman as being white or Hispanic. I just.
So you telling me, let's say you're a young cat, 25 years old.
I was about to.
You marry a white woman.
No, not married. Dated.
Okay, and so you go out to a black event. You got to decide which event you're going to go to. You're going to go to the Opera House, listen to some, I can't even give you a Barbie Marlowe or Manilow or something like that. Or are you going to go?
Because at that point, you have to have something in common to be attracted to one another. So the attraction that goes beyond race. So in stereotypes.
But there are ramifications.
You don't think Kendra Brown Jackson has anything in common with that guy she's married to?
How could she have something in common with that guy she's married to when that guy she's married to has nothing in common with her heritage? You can't. There's no commonality there. That's a forced relationship. Just like any interracial relationship to me. I don't want to say forced because force is too hard a word to put on it. It's a relationship without a particular set of questioning and thought. And I don't particularly care about the relationship. What I do care about is the kid, the child, the babies that are brought into this world as the result of those relationships. Now let's go all the way back to us now. When we were brought into this world, and our ancestors were brought into this world looking like us, not because they consented to interracial relationships. Right. They didn't consent to that.
No.
That was a privilege given based on where you resided. Mm-hmm. And I say resided because it was a temporary situation. Being in slave quarters or whatever else it might be, you had to comply or die.
Right.
So if you're in a position where you got to comply or die for hundreds of years, and then all of a sudden when you get out of that condition, then you got no malice, no reasoning behind the thoughts of who you get in a relationship with. Because in my mind, I don't see me being in a relationship, and it's just me talking with a white person or white woman, because I don't think that I could go back to my roots with a white woman on my own and feel comfortable.
At no level.
At my level. I have all the millions I want. And in order for me to do that, I'd have to specifically say my ancestry doesn't matter.
So you'd be like that black employee that gets hired based on her blackness, her looks, rather than any substance she brings to the table.
Who's to say that ain't the case anyway? I ain't gonna say most black women. A lot of black women get hired based on their looks. Just that damn simple. And black women are considered non-lethal or non-threatening to white men. They're the least threatening individual to white men, black women. White men are more afraid of white women than they are black women, because black women have always been the easiest target for white men. That's what I think.
Yeah, historically, yeah.
And because that is the situation, to me, a black woman should have a little more respect for her heritage than for her lust.
So when Clarence Thomas is married to his white wife, I'm sure you got a different opinion of Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, you went to the bottom of the barrel on this.
Well, I mean, since we're talking about this, so you might as well go deep.
Yeah, we're going deep with this.
So what do you think about Clarence Thomas in his love life?
Clarence Thomas is one of
or even the senator from South Carolina that just married the white woman.
The one that was kissing Donald Trump's ass?
Yeah, Tim Scott.
Tim Scott, yeah.
Those two black men. Two black men.
Tim Scott and Clarence Thomas. Those two black men will cut off their nuts to say they're not black. Both of them will.
Are you saying they're not celebrating Kwanzaa?
Hell no. They're not celebrating chitlins and ham hocks either, and pig feet and ribs and none of that red Kool-Aid.
So when Tim Scott goes back home to South Carolina, you really think he down there eating Geechee food?
Hell no. He ain't nowhere near black people. Tim Scott ain't nowhere near black people. Just like Clarence Thomas ain't nowhere near black people. Neither one. They're so far away from being black. Then I don't think if you took away the color of their skin, you'd never know that they were black.
Do you think a light-skinned woman or a white woman would have kept Clarence Thomas? If a lighter-skinned woman, other than Anita Hill, because she was real dark, but do you think a light-skinned woman or a white woman would have kept him off the Supreme Court with that same allegations?
If Clarence Thomas had did what he did to Anita Hill,
a light-skinned
white, if she was white,
right?
If she was white, and he had been allegedly had done that, he would never be a politician in America.
You don't think he would have made it? You don't think he would have been affirmed?
Hell no, he would not have been affirmed. Let one of these white men look at what happened to all the black men in athletics that married white women and ended up doing time. You get more time. I mean, you get put yourself in these situations, and these white women decide. Look at the guy who played The Harder They Fall on this black Western movie that just came out. I don't remember his name, but allegedly his girlfriend was trying to hit him in a public place, and he held her arms to keep her from hitting on him. But when the police arrived, they took him to jail. And he never touched a woman. He just kept her from hitting him. And you know, everybody blamed him for the situation. How the fuck you gonna blame him when he's the one getting pounded on and you're protecting yourself, but yet you're being the one taken to jail for being around a white woman?
Right.
You know, the rules ain't changed. All these rules are still the same, even though the black man marrying these white women better have some money if they intend to stay out of jail. Because if they don't have any money and they marrying white women that look the part.
So what do you think? What do you think the conversation in Clarence Thomas's bedroom is? It about blackness and about black empowerment and about black people? I mean, what conversations are?
Clarence Thomas ain't talking nothing black, and I assure you that every time Martin Luther King month come around, January and February come around, he's talking shit about it on the billionaire's yacht.
You think so?
Hell yeah. He's so far from black. He's laughing with them, joking with them, telling them black jokes and every damn thing else. But he does not care about blacks.
He got the black skin though.
But that's the only thing he got. Everything else is white. And if he has anything to say about black, it ain't positive. Clarence Thomas ain't got nothing to say positive about black people.
But now that's different from Ketanji Brown Jackson. She talks about black people.
Right.
Even though she married
her. I can't. I can only say her career was more important than her legacy, her family heritage. And you know, for a father to say to me, "Oh, it's okay if you date a white." If to my daughter, I'm talking about me and to my daughters. If my daughter wanted to date a white fellow, I say, okay, well, that's your choice. But here are some of the reasons why I think you need to consider your choices. But if you want to marry a white person, all right, I'll support you on that.
My father-in-law, who I hugely respect, raised two daughters, gave them the skill sets and supported them. But he's a much better father than I could ever be. He told his daughter, the one that I'm married to, you better never bring a white guy home. So it wasn't even up for discussion. They never even considered it. They got the degrees, they got the education. So if you ain't got no father in the home to tell your daughter that, why you think all these little sports guys are marrying white girls in college?
Tanya Jackson was raised by her parents.
But what I'm saying is, we talked. We had one of the shows where we talked about fatherhood. Yeah, that's another example of what the absence of a father and the impact on that child's
what's missing.
Who's there to tell him you better not bring home?
If she doesn't know, then she cannot negate. She can't fight it. If she doesn't know, for instance, if she don't know that her ancestors were maliciously and brutally raped and impregnated and left to fend for the child on their own. And I don't care how light-skinned the baby was, that baby was black. And that baby was going to be raised black. You can be light-skinned as black in the field, but you're going to be in the field.
But I will tell you this, having a senior in high school in the home, they don't teach them any of that. No, I teach my daughter every day. And then when I give her an example, I either give her the movie or give her the book to read. But what I'm saying is, they're not getting it in school.
Right. Oh, no, they're not. Because what do you think they did all this thing for the law thing where they said if the teachers in Texas decided to teach critical race theory, that they would put them in jail.
Right.
It's a reason behind all of that.
Forget about critical race theory. They're not even teaching them history.
Right. They're not teaching history.
They're not true history.
Right.
You can't, as brutal as slavery was, you can't make it romantic. You can't romanticize slavery.
No, you can't. So how do you want everybody to just forgive what they did to our ancestors? Is that what we're asking? And we're saying that don't consider what was done to your ancestors when you decide who you marry. You just marry because that's who you love. Is that what that's what it should be, or what? I don't think that's the way we need to be looking at love, or because love is only the beginning of this commitment. Love is the beginning of the commitment, but at the end of the day, when you get down that road, 30 years down the road, 20 years down the road, it's no longer about love. It's about companionship.
Well, okay, let's look at this example. Would a Jewish person ever consider?
No, hell no. They don't. Certain races will kill their kids before they allow them to marry into another race, like Indians. Look at Steve McNair. You think Steve McNair just happened to get shot in his own damn place?
Yeah, that was so quick too. Yeah.
Why do you think? Why would they kill the girl? And they try to blame it on her like she did it? Hell no, she didn't do it. I don't give a damn what they say in the news.
But doesn't it go back to this whole concept of integration? Is the reason why we're like this.
It always does go back to integration.
I mean, the concept of integration, the concept that says you cannot be your best unless you're next to something white. Look how a black man can be married to an ugly white woman, but will walk. You've seen it in the military. A lot of the GIs were married to some of them little trashy looking white women.
Yeah,
I don't know where they got them from. Probably somewhere where the base was at. And
they done went through 25 GIs, and now they done lowered their standard down to the ones that can't think for themselves, and so they whoop it on them, and they done. But the interaction between the black man and the white woman is totally different than the interaction, in general, than the black man and the black woman.
But you're making some assumptions. Okay, so what was the guy that ran for senator?
Where state?
Texas. He lost to Ted Cruz.
Yeah, I know.
Now he married. Yeah, the football player that married his commercials with his white wife were some of the worst commercials I've ever seen done because it was something unnatural about the commercial.
Yeah, it was.
Not that he was not that he was married to a white woman. It seemed like it was staged.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It was for publicity. It was for he married her to get into politics, and I can guarantee you she came from a prestigious family because he was an NFL player. So
Right.
that meant he was married to her while he was in the NFL, and he had to have money in the millions of dollars in order for him to run that campaign, plus to have that white woman on his shoulder like that.
I'm
I'm going back further than that. Michael Jordan divorced a black woman,
right,
and married a white woman.
Because think about it. If you got that kind of wealth,
mm-hmm.
Who's in that universe?
White folks.
When you in Canes for a holiday, the wealthy kind of follow each other around. They go to certain major events.
They do a lot of
look at the big golf tournaments. How many black women do you see at a major golf tournament?
Not just golf. How many major black people do you see at a football game, an NFL game, or a pro ball game, pro basketball game? You don't see black people at those games. You see them on the field. It's more black people on the court and on the field than it is in the audience.
Yeah, in some of the stadiums. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, in some of the stadiums. Yeah.
So these things that are happening now are not they're not for us. I mean, the black man that's out there dominating the football field, marrying a white woman, is a status. It's all about status. It's almost like what happens right now this time of year. Everybody want to go out and buy BMWs, Audis, Mercedes. A year later, 6 months later, they're gone. But they go and do this because of the status they get when they drive around in that car.
Right.
The same with if you go to an interview, you don't go to an interview in flip-flops and shorts. You put on a suit and a tie because you want to look as white as you can possibly look to apply for this white man's job.
So a suit and a tie and all that is that's white attire?
That is European
attire. Africans wear suits.
Yeah, European attire. All suits, the way suits are being worn today by most of us, are based on the way Europeans have taught us to dress.
Right.
That's why we wear those suits the way we do. But we would not ever consider going to an interview in shorts and flip-flops because we consider ourselves looking better than that. Even in the 50s and 60s, when you saw all black men in suit and tie and a hat, all black men in suits, ties, hats, shoes, coats, overcoats, all of that was across the board. Even in the hood, in the ghetto, in the poorest regions of America, man ain't got to have a dime in his pocket, but he got a suit on and a tie. So why was he doing all that? He was doing it because he knew that in order for him to be invisible in America, he had to blend in. And in order to blend in, you got to do what the natives are doing. And they are not natives, by the way.
Well, I always think about the South, regardless of whether a black man had on a suit or not, in the 50s, he had to step off the sidewalk to make way for a white person.
Yeah, it doesn't change.
It may have.
And it's still the same.
Right. But I don't know. Back to this black women thing and why they marry white men.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I just think it's a lack of black men at that level.
They don't have to be at that level though. Why you got to find somebody at the equally yoked as you? You don't have to. You got to find somebody that you can get along with, that you can communicate with, that you enjoy the same things with. That's how, to me, you find your mate, by by being able to have a decent conversation with a person, being able to have like interests in a person, with between the two, being able to deductively discuss serious issues without tearing up the damn house or wanting to kill each other.
And you don't
You
need a
know,
PhD. You don't need a PhD to have that kind of conversation. Huh?
no, you don't. You don't. You don't. And then you don't need a PhD to be submissive, or for the man to be submissive at the points too. But the bottom line is, black men don't want to fight with black women about who's in charge. And the reason this whole situation is trickled down. It's trickled down from slavery. Why are black men always being downgraded to they ain't about shit? Or
It's
oh,
historical.
you ain't about shit. Man, F you sorry, mofo, and all this other stuff. Why are black men being put in those situations? This is not normal for black men to always criticize black men. And it's not normal for black women to always criticize black men. And they do it because that was a security measure done by black women during slavery to save their sons. Because if they did not paint their sons as sorry individuals with no drive, no leadership skills, no nothing, then the sons was subject to be brought, what they call them, bow broke, whatever they call it. They were subject to be whipped, killed, raped.
Kunta
Uh,
Kinte, they were subject to be Kunta Kinte.
yeah, made to lose your nationality. See, most people don't even realize the significance of that episode, where he was made to say his name as Toby.
Right.
That meant the world. That was a universe. When he said Toby, that was an entire culture of people. Because until he said his name was Toby, the white man could not disconnect him from his forefathers. And until he called himself Toby, he was still connected to his forefathers. But the moment he gave himself the name Toby, he was no longer part of the world he came from.
So that's why we got the names Foster, Williams, and Smith, and Jones, and
And
Williams.
that is the very reason I and any other Moore don't change their name, because you have to maintain your lineage through your culture. And you cannot be so naive to think that 6 million people were brought over on 30 ships. It didn't happen. You need 3,000 ships, if not more. And with 3,000 ships, and you can only find one in 2024, we got a problem. This has been a lie. It's just the most gigantuous lie ever told about men and women in America. And who orchestrates this lie? Not black men. We're victims in the whole story. But we're not playing ourselves as victims, because I don't like being called a victim. But the truth be told, we are victims. But we're not going to accept the fact that we're victims. Never will we accept that fact.
But one of the things that we ought to do every year about this time, I'm not going to get Curtis Blow on you, but every year about this time, we should dedicate ourselves to that truth, to that reality.
What reality and what truth?
What we're talking about.
About being in our culture, in ourselves, staying with our true selves. See,
Okay, does Dr. King's birthday, what America has turned it into, does it celebrate what we're talking about?
no,
Does it inform
no,
are black people that go to the MLK March in San Antonio and the white people, are they better educated about blackness as a result of that march than any other day?
no. I don't think so. I just think that
What do you think
in
the average Hispanic thinks about when you about Dr. King's holiday?
I really don't think they think anything about it because they don't have a.
Well, they attend the march, don't they?
Well, people attend the march for different reasons. They attend the march because it's a moment to be seen. It's a moment to represent who you want to be represented by. It's everything that it's not.
That's what I'm saying. So why can't we turn it into what it should be? What's
Because
stopping us?
we don't have the desire to do that. We don't have the power. We don't have the people wanting to change what it really is. We don't have significant enough powers in any area of America.
Okay, let me give you an example. Every year when we have the bridge crossing Jubilee in Selma, right?
Mm,
And I hope you get to go to one of those. It ain't just a bridge crossing Jubilee. There's workshops and all kind of other things that go along with that day.
mm.
So you're educating, young people are learning, and you know, college students come, high school students come, sorority fraternity members, they come as
Mm.
a group, and there's trainings and
Well,
workshops.
why do they go though? Do they go there to make a difference? Do they go there to learn heritage, or do they go there to just say they
I
went?
think I think a lot of them go there for
Just
that
like
moment,
going to Martin Luther King,
right? But
just to say they went.
the workshops and all the other stuff is still there. It's part of that weekend. So
The
why is
same
money?
people attend the workshop.
Huh? No, I mean they have
The
different.
same people,
Yeah,
huh?
no, they have different people. But what I'm saying is, why can't
It's
we?
the same people.
Why can't we do it? Why can't we? Why can't the black community in San Antonio, the NAACP, turn the march into something meaningful? Or
Because it's commercial.
the Divine Nine. Y'all got the Divine Nine in San Antonio. You got the NAACP in San Antonio. I don't know whether you got an urban league. I don't think you got an urban league. Why can't it?
When it's
Why
like
can't it be something meaningful?
we can't do it. It because we don't want that. All we want is the honor and the prestige and the awards and the accolades. We don't want only thing you get when we do the march in San Antonio. Oh, we got the largest march in the country,
Just took
and
the words
that's
out of your
damn
mouth.
huh?
You just took the
What'd you
words out.
say?
Yeah,
But what significance is that?
but who?
You
But
don't
who?
get shit out of it. Black people don't get nothing out of that march. You get ran out the park at 5 o'clock. Ran out the park now, not asked to leave. You get ran out the fucking park.
Really?
So it doesn't mean anything to us anymore. And if we sit back
So,
long enough,
so
it's
there are
gonna
no
be
so there are no workshops over at the Carver Center, over at the different community center.
they have the same bullshit every year. They have some high paid ass bullshit ass speaker come in there to rile the dowels of the crowd, but you walk away not knowing no more than you knew when you got there. You don't
Mm,
have a mission. There's nothing significantly accomplished at any march in the last 20 years that I've been to.
mm.
Not a significant thing other than the basic standard old bullshit. You know, the wreath laying ceremony, morning, the church service, the guest speaker out there after the march, and it's over. You move on to the next thing. Ain't none of that. People go to the wreath laying ceremony to how we do Valentine's Day and all these other bullshit holidays. The laying ceremony is the same damn thing. It's two purposes. One, to give individual organizations a moment of spotlight. Two, to help the florists
Now
do
y'all
their
don't have an MLK parade. Y'all just got a march.
no,
See,
yeah, we don't have a parade. We have a march.
in Houston, we have two parades on the same day. Black folks can't get together in one city to have one parade. Got two parades.
It's the same here. We got two Martin Luther King Jr. commissions. What kind of shit is that? We got two Juneteenth commissions here in San Antonio, and they
Okay,
both do their own thing. Both. One does their stuff at Comanche Park. The other one does their stuff in a parade.
mm,
But it's not there for the people. It's for individuals who line their pockets based on. what they can get from this whole event.
See what?
It's not helping anybody.
See the problem. I was telling somebody. I think you can name the Martin Luther King Jr. high schools in the country. Excuse me. There's no district. I think there's one district in California that I read about that whose high school was in an integrated community that was named Martin Luther King Jr. High School. Mm-hmm. White folks do not attend Martin Luther King parades. They don't participate in them, and they're not on the sidelines. It's all black. If you came to Houston and you went to both parades, because they run, it was so messed up. The council member would be in one parade, and then we had to take the car and drive it over to the other parade. That's stupid, ain't it? Yep. Same thing with the congresswoman. She'd be in one parade, she'd start off, then she'd drive over to the other parade. Now, that kind of disunity on public display
makes you wonder.
Why
do we do it? Why do it for I mean, why would the congressperson want to be in both parades? So they can be seen in both parades. That's why. Because if they go to this one and don't go to that one, they figure somebody gonna say something. So let's do both.
2 parades.
I'm fussing about it.
2 parades.
Of course. 2. Why not though? I mean, we do all these things not for us. It don't benefit us at all. We just go out and do this shit without question. You know, and just like Biden out of no fucking where in the universe come up with the damn Juneteenth holiday. And I wanted to just slap that damn thin ass hair off the back of his head because it's some bullshit. Out of all the shit that you could have said and did for black people, you want to come out with a fucking holiday. We already do the holiday. Whether you sanction it or not, we do the holiday. You know, that's the kind of shit that irks the shit out of me. That it doesn't have any significant moral, historical value at all. Because if you really wanted to do something, pay them damn people that were held in slavery 6 months after slavery was over.
No, 2 years.
It was 2 years. Pay the people who were stayed in slavery then. Pay them. Then you start talking. But other than you going out there giving a holiday, it wasn't on nobody's mind. Was it a surprise to you when he said it, or did you know it was coming?
Well, Trump takes credit for
it. It don't even matter. It does. What matters to me is that you had no historical reason to go out and honor that holiday when you did it.
Well, I mean,
you know,
2 million black Texans would argue with you. You know,
I would say if you're going to do it, I know it's an important day now. Don't get me wrong. If you're going, I think them 2 million Texans would say, I don't want to hear that bullshit. If you got something to say about this day, pay me, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, because they kept it from them because they wanted the crops to be picked. They wanted the crops to be picked, so they kept them from them. Until John
they didn't get paid for the picking of crops. They didn't get paid, not for that either. So if you don't want to pay them for the 400 years, pay them for the 2 years.
No, you know? I mean, we're not going to be.
But I want to go back to my black man, white woman.
Yeah, we got to get off track.
Black woman thing. What I looked up was that it's 200% more black men and white women are 200% more likely to get divorced than black men and black women. And white women and black men are only 44% likely to get divorced than black.
What was the 200%?
Black men and white women are 200% more likely to get divorced.
Wow.
Than black men and black women. White men and black women are only 44% more likely to get divorced than white men and white women. And what was the latest thing that just happened? Who is Cam Logan? That's somebody you mentioned, right? Who is the guy who won the Heisman Trophy or just got selected for the
Yeah,
Carolina Panthers?
the
Somebody.
guy,
Everybody's bitching about the girl who was
his
sending.
girlfriend. She's Hispanic, right?
Yeah, and you know how can you believe that every super athlete coming up in the sports today end up on their first national television appearance with a white woman on their arm? How disrespectful is that? A white woman on one arm and their mother on the other arm, their black mother on the other one.
Travis Hunter.
Why?
Well, people have been trying to warn him
But warn him about what?
about
What are
that.
they? What does he need to be warned about? He a grown ass man, ain't he? Or damn near grown ass man. Why do he have to?
Look at the Alabama quarterback with that white woman. That's the dean's daughter at the University of Alabama. Why is she
Say that again.
the Alabama quarterback?
That is the dean's daughter.
The dean's daughter.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like.
I think it's the dean's
That
daughter.
it's the dean's daughter that he's
She's
in the relationship with.
right.
Well, the dean's daughter can be a hoe too. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who daughter or who cousin or what family they from. You know, if they fucked up, they fucked up. And you got some rich people just as messed up. I just don't see that the reason why people like Charles Barkley been married to a white woman since he been out of there, doing his entire NBA career. Michael Jordan divorcing a black woman, giving $1 billion, and then marrying a white woman and giving her $1 trillion. And then, Kobe Bryant, I don't care that it was his childhood sweetheart. You had no inclination to date somebody in your own damn race in high school. It don't make sense to me. All these things happening in America is by design, and it's by attrition, and the attrition is the black man. That
Mm-hmm.
is the attrition because we're the ones who are falling off, and we're falling off because we're not taking our place in society, and we're not going to take our place in society because there's too many of us afraid to be heard. That's the problem. We won't say anything. We'll sit back and look the other way when shit is wrong. Like right now, just today, right? I'm down here in the cafeteria and at the hospital. And the man gonna say the doctor came in and he's just gonna walk up to the fucking line and order what he wants. And I said, hey, you need to wait your turn. I didn't give a damn who he was. He was one of the doctors. You don't do shit no way, but rush in people room and out people room
Oh,
all
just
fucking.
he walked right in front of you.
Yeah. I said, move. You got to wait your turn. He said, oh, okay, Black Santa. I said, all right, Mr. Terrorist. He was an Indian. and, he left it at that. But, he ain't got no right. He don't know me well enough to give me an adjective. They call me Black Santa.
What you tell him? Okay, Mr. Terrorist.
Yeah. Yeah, you wait your turn. You don't cut line. I'm standing here for a reason. I'm in line to order my food just like you. So you wait. If you was in a hurry, you should have got here early. I don't let position like that influence me to be submissive. And a lot of black men do. If you're going to you got to get to a point in your life where your priority is just as important as anybody else's. Don't put me in a position where I can tell you, oh, you can go ahead. I ain't gonna fucking tell you that. You got to get back in line like everybody else. I don't care what money you make. I don't care if it's 6 figures, 10 figures. I don't give a damn because it's just not protocol for men. And until we start to stand up for ourselves on a
That's it.
level where we recognize everything that chops us down, every time we let shit like that go, it's another chunk out the fucking tree limb or the tree trunk.
Yeah.
And they just hatchet it away until your tree falls over and you're dead. And now none of that shit matters. But you as a black man, me as a black man, and a million other, 40 million other, or how many ever other black men are out there, must recognize the importance of their voice. And they don't use their voices. They just oh, I'm sorry. What can I, we cannot be bending over to accommodate another man in any situation.
Oh, we do it with my daughter. My wife like you hold a door for somebody and they don't say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If you let them get away with that, do they only do that with certain people? Do they only do that with?
They only do it with certain people. If you don't, the thing you got to realize about what you just said, you shouldn't get angry. If you hold the door open for someone and they don't
Acknowledge it.
you holding that door for them, you need to check them on it, but you don't have to get angry. Like I didn't get angry with that doctor.
So how
I
would
just
you
told
check?
him,
What would you say in a situation with the door?
you don't thank people for holding the door for you, huh? Oh,
Mhm.
well, forgive me for my damn consideration. And I'm gonna walk off and leave them with their damn jaw dropped.
Yeah, because it's almost like it's an expected
Angry. Huh?
thing. It's almost like you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna get angry because I don't I did that on my own. You didn't ask me to do it. I'm just showing you that I can be courteous. And I don't
Mm.
have to be.
But
And that
I think in the case of black women though that marry white men,
mm-hmm,
I think it is a case of lack of. But I hear what you're saying. You're saying that it shouldn't matter that a that a that a black woman with 3 degrees and a six-figure salary
right.
shouldn't say my man got to be a six-figure, all this kind of stuff.
That's right. It doesn't have to be. I mean, it's about relationships. That's all it's about. It's
But
about
you got to have
communication.
something in common to have a relationship. And you saying that the blackness should be enough.
Yeah. I think we should stick to our own people. And the reason we need to do that is because
But wait,
again,
but you got a good point there. You're saying that the blackness should be reason enough. You
that's
know,
it.
whether that she got a PhD and he's got a GED, their blackness should be enough if everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, if you out there, you put parameters on what you looking for. You out here, oh, I gotta have a 6 figure nigga, or some bullshit like that, right? Women say stuff like that.
Yeah,
Men do too. My woman got to be this, that, and the other. You know, it ain't about none of that. I think if relationships happen by accident anyway. You got all these dating sites out there, and people finding love on the dating sites, but it's bigger than love. A relationship ain't just love. A
right,
relationship is companionship at the end of the day.
right.
It ain't about, because you're not going to be in love 20, 30 years from now. You might be in love now, but you're not going to be in love like you were
Yeah, right. No, you're not.
when you first met. But
Mm.
you still have the respect, the admiration, the loyalty, all these factors that go into the relationship. But when you're from a totally different background, you raised Jewish on the man side and you raised black on the other side, there's no way you're going to be able to put those two together.
Now, does is Harris Jewish? Does she practice Judaism?
All I know is she knows the religion because of her mother's race.
But does she's married to a Jew?
Yeah. So she knows the
Has she
relation.
admitted to the faith? I mean, has she committed to the faith?
I don't know about
That
that.
never came up during the campaign in terms of her. She never said she went to a Baptist church or.
Or a Jewish church or anything. She never discussed religion. And what is religion? Religion need to stay out of politics anyway. I mean, we've gotten so slack on most important issues, like mixing politics and religion. That should not be happening. We shouldn't be discussing politics in school or in church. If you're 501c3 or C4, then politics are out of the question. You shouldn't be talking it in your congregations or anywhere else. But we've ignored all that shit and we're doing it. Just like there are millions of laws on the books that that we ignore should be wiped off the books, but we don't wipe them off the books because we don't take the time to address those laws. Like right now, Abraham Lincoln's executive order, which states it's in his executive order talks about the compensation for black for people left that were released off the plantation. And to me, all of this is you don't want to talk about the history. You really don't want to talk about the history. You want to talk about all future. How, it's almost like you don't want to build a house, but you want to live in it. You don't want to make sure you got the right set of windows in the house or the right set of stucco or brick or siding or whatever you want to put on it, but you want to live in it. You don't want to make these concrete decisions that are absolutely necessary. You don't want to wait till the foundation dry long enough before you start putting on the framework.
Mhm.
And that's when you end up with foundation problems. Because and that's the same thing with life. You don't let the foundation of your culture cure enough for it to be significant in your future.
Do you think interracial marriages are eroding our culture?
100%. We've lost the race. I don't even want to think that we have a chance sometime. Things are so damn tight and so disgruntled and so disproportionately allocated. We've lost the fight and we don't have any fight. We don't have
Jalen
any, huh?
Jalen Muro and the guy we was just talking about, Colorado, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they wasn't ball players, would they attract the kind of white women that they attracted?
Hell no. Ain't no way. Look, half of these black guys with white wives that play professional sports, if they didn't play professional sports, they'd be wearing a damn Burger King hat because it's fuck. And I'm sorry to say it. These athletes are a damn disgrace sometimes. They can
So
run that damn ball now. I ain't got no problem with seeing that. They can
so they,
run a ball.
so their handsomeness is not what's attractive.
Hell no. Look at Herschel Walker.
Yeah,
He
that's
just
true.
made himself look like the biggest idiot you'd ever seen.
Well, he's not an ambassador to. He's
Huh?
he's going to be an ambassador. Trump appointed him ambassador to one of the Caribbean islands.
And I don't even know how to even answer some shit like that. you know, he can't even be an ambassador to his own damn town.
Yeah, he's going to be the ambassador. It's a Caribbean island. I think it's
He gave him something to shut him up. You know,
well, I
cause,
think he did.
huh?
You know, an ambassador. I mean, he don't need the money because all the ambassador makes is about 174,000. I mean, that's a lot of money,
Yeah,
but they go to a lot of parties.
that's all they do.
And,
And
Herschel's
all
still
he's
out
gonna
there.
do is smile in white folks' faces. He ain't gonna have shit to do with making no change on nothing because he don't know how to do anything.
No, that's the State Department. Yeah, he's
All
just
he's doing is just a face, and that's what it is. It's a spokesperson, a
right.
face. It's a face of a particular thing representing something. He doesn't mean shit to nobody, and people are telling him a bit.
Well, look, I think I would put Katina Brown Jackson and maybe Condoleezza Rice, because she's, you know who Condoleezza Rice is.
Yeah,
they all married to Jewish guys.
I thought she was married to George Bush.
No, her husband's Jewish.
Condoleezza Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, why? I mean, how can you be raised up in the most rural South and end up with marrying a Jew when, you know, all the stuff that I've heard about Jews and read about Jews and know about Jews, it ain't got shit to do with what's actually happening with Jews. You know, why is it that we understand that Jews and blacks don't get along? Why is it that we understand that Mormons and blacks don't get along? Why is it that we understand that Mennonites and blacks don't get along? And we can go down the line and pick a light-skinned nationality and come back and place it against blacks, and the writing's on the wall. It's obvious that they don't get along. How can we be so sure that these relationships don't work, but then we can turn around and say, oh, they should have such a beautiful marriage? How can we do this? I don't understand how we can do that. How can we say Clarence Thomas, who literally shit in Anita Hill's face and let her and made her look real bad, when he was the one that was wrong? If he didn't have white people in his corner, he would have went to jail.
Right.
And if he'd have did that to a white woman, he would have went to jail. And he damn sure wouldn't have got paid a damn Supreme Court judge. Not at all. So the only reason he's a Supreme Court judge is because of his wife. And then she's a Trump supporter, 110%. And she's the leader of that family. All he does is follow her around like a fucking dingleberry. You know, Clarence Thomas ain't leading nothing in that family. You know, if he was, he would have recused himself from the damn Supreme Court when all this shit was going down. You know, she tells him what he's going to do next. And that's what he does. And that's how he stays in good grace. You know, Brown Jackson, I don't think her husband is trying to tell her to do anything. I think he's probably a nice guy. The other lady, the vice president, Kamala Harris, her husband, probably a nice guy too. But I don't think he tells her anything.
But you just don't.
Huh?
But you think it's a cultural thing.
What's a cultural thing?
Married outside of your.
Absolutely. But it's a desired thing across the entire culture. For many, let's say you got 10 black men. Out of 10 black men, and you give them a choice for $1 million. We'll give you $1 million for you to get married. Will you marry a black woman or a white woman?
Well, all you got to do is look at the males and white men versus look at the female athletes and black and white men. Now, a couple of them have married. For the tennis player, she married white.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know
Serena Williams.
Yeah.
But look, do you see white guys line up to marry the NBA black NBA players? No. Is it money, or because they don't? On one level, you could say it's all about the money. If a black NBA player was making the same amount of money that a black NBA player made, would white men be lined up for those women?
I think so. Those black women don't make much money at all.
Right.
They're doing good if they're making a little over $100,000 a year.
Right.
But that ain't.
So you don't think that you don't think the white guys will be out there like the white girls are out there for the black athletes?
No. But they're out there, but they're not going to be out there like the white girls are out there for the black men making all that money in the sports. But if you notice, every year sports goes up. Every year that sports goes up in value, that's the year you see more and more newer players with white women.
I think Clarence Thomas is kind of like an anomaly. I think he's outside of what he's over here.
So is Tim Scott. So is Herschel Walker. They all effed up, if you ask me. They're in such bad condition mentally that when it comes to honoring who they are, you don't find white people dissing white people too often. You don't find, and I guess for them to diss black people, for black people, black men to diss black people the way they do, I don't. It's baffling to me because how can you make it look like you don't give a shit about black women when you're a black man? You know, you can still care about black women as a black man, but that don't mean you have to marry one.
But if there's what of the 2 million people incarcerated, over 1 million of them are black people in American prison jails and prisons.
That got nothing to do with who marries who. It's just 2 million black men in jail or 1 million in jail. That's all it is. It's still another 50, 20 million out there that you can choose from. It's all about the area. So, for instance, if if
that was the case, no, I'm gonna push back on that a little bit just for the conversation. If that was the case, why do black women be having so many babies from the same? Why does one black man be impregnating, having 14, 20 babies from different?
All right, I'm going to answer this with two parts. Black men want to show their dominance by their dick size and how many babies they can have with black women. But the moment they can get their hands on a white,
is that a byproduct of slavery too?
I think so. I haven't thought about it that much, but I do think it's a byproduct of slavery.
It's just a man thing.
It's a byproduct of slavery because black men are notoriously wanting to be fathers. But what is the problem with them being a father? Ask the federal government that question. They have a problem with black men being fathers. Because if black men were fathers, more black boy babies would be black boys into men, not black babies into women, black male babies into black male women. You know, I think the biggest this government, they've set it up the way they want it, and they running it the way they plan to run it. You know, you can't tell me 300, 400 years ago, 500 years ago, they did not figure all these plans out. These plans are etched in stone. I mean, how can you get up on Sunday morning, go to Sunday school, take your kids to Sunday school, and learn about the gospel, and then after school, go after Sunday school and after church, go take your children to a public hanging and take pictures while you're there and think that's okay? There's not a white rich man in America right now that you cannot ask, do you still have memorabilia from the slave trade? I guarantee you they're gonna say yeah. If they're rich, they will say yeah. They still got stuff. They got human parts. They got documents that's been forged where they took black folks' land and resources and beat them out of their other stuff, inventions, and every damn thing else. You know, when you have the money in the US of A, then you can just about do what you want to do. Ask Donald Trump. And they have the money. You know, there are many of us with money, many billionaire black people, but they don't have a desire to treat white people the way they treated us. They don't. But one of the things about black folks, right? You know, you get a black, like right now, I'm going to just tell you what's happening. I'm watching what's going down, right? The police pulled in a few vehicles over. I'm sitting in the car and with his lights on. And then a woman pulled up. You know how cops pull up with the doors together where they can talk?
Mm-hmm.
This is somebody's wife. I guarantee it. And she black.
Mm.
And the police is black too. So black women, and she's driving on one of these big ass Toyota trucks, big new one. You know, so it's about respect, self-respect, and black women today don't show the level of respect they should for themselves nor for the black man. And I ain't gonna say the black man show all the respect because they don't. They got problems, bigger problems, where they don't show the required due respect and focus on our own that they do. And they go for the white woman because they don't have to do that. They don't have to be respectful. They don't have to be black man that they should be. And if you give a black woman opportunity to go to dinner with a millionaire white man or with an average salaried black man, what do you think will happen?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't no disrespect. They're not thinking about disrespect to the black man.
So you saying a black man presence, but he loses his voice.
Yes, he's lost his voice. It's gone.
So he's not.
Huh?
No, I hear you.
We have no voice, and then the ones that want to speak up have no power.
Because if you're let's say you're a black preacher, and you're a Methodist, and they call you to be on the staff at a white Methodist church, and you go to that church, and you met you fulfill everything that church was looking for: diversity. You got a black face, everything, right? But can you elevate your black voice? I think you can't.
We can't. That's where it's at. We lost our voice.
Yeah.
We don't have.
And so many of our leaders today, not mainly because of this subject, but as a result of this subject, we've lost a lot of our voices. It ain't racism no more. It's something that we ain't doing.
Right.
That's the voice. That's the kind of voice we hear.
Yep.
Because it can't be. Look at me. I'm married to a white woman. I'm saying it can't be race no more. I'm married to a white woman. I live in a white neighborhood. The white folks. I tell the story all the time about like up in Dallas, you know, out there outside of Fort Worth, there's a wealthy community where a lot of the football players live, right? The white folks know them by their number. Mm-hmm. Like that's 65. That's how they know the black residents in the neighborhood. Now, how is that? Yeah. That's how they know them by their number. Not by their name.
No, nothing. They just got a number.
Their football. Yeah, that's their football number.
That's disrespectful on another level.
But how far removed from slavery is that?
Not at all removed. And if you take the same football and apply it to slavery.
It's a modern update.
It's a modern update of slavery because football, playing these professional sports ain't nothing but modern day slavery.
Instead of you got your paper saying that you Mr. Charlie's, you got a number now. You 99.
You get
You
paid for it, so you getting paid for it, so shut the fuck up.
But that's how his neighbors refer to that family, by their number.
It's pretty sad.
It's so few of them there, and 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 because the black families tend to be more accomplished than their white neighbors, they let the black folks be the spokesman for this and be the spokesman for that, and it one black man can make the whole neighborhood seem integrated. One black family.
Yep.
One That's black family.
They let one black family move in.
But if I tell you the neighborhood, you know what I'm talking about. I think at the time that they moved there, they were the only black family there. But it was integrated. And how do you, like I told you at the last show, how does one person go to the University of Mississippi and they call it integrated?
Because that's their standard. They write the rules.
One black
black
can make the University of Mississippi integrated.
Mm-hmm. And I can guarantee you that's all the way from the governor. You can let one of them niggers get in there, and that's it. And nothing else is said about it, and that's the way it rolled.
And then they shot
that because they only do what they have to do when they have to do it. Like George Wallace.
Right.
He only did what he had to do when he had to do it. He don't give a damn. Look at Giuliani. I mean, white folks have no soul sometimes, in my opinion, because there's nothing that you can put past them. They'll do anything they need to do to get what they need. And that's why they have everything. Not all white people now, but that's why there are more white people with tons of money than anybody in the world, not just the U.S. of A., but the whole world, because they do what they need to do to win. Look at the Crusaders and the Knights Templar and how they fought with Christianity against the Muslims for years, for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And it kept going back and forth, back and forth. No real winner in those battles. But their religion stood up, even though their religion called for them to kill thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
Right.
But one of the 10 Commandments says, thou shalt not kill, but David killed 10,000s at a time. So when it's like that, when the rules are written for the spoil, whoever, what do they say? You get the spoils, you win, or something like that. Whoever writes the rule can basically benefit from the rule. If I write a rule, why would I write a rule that I don't benefit from?
Well, then they benefit. Look at the King James Version of the Bible.
Hell yeah. The King James Version of the Bible is the reason we have all the churches we have right now. And everybody know most Christians don't know the history of King James. They don't want to know the history of King James. All they want to know is that they got a King James Bible. They don't even want to ask about the history of King James. They don't even want to know that he was a slave owner, that he executed thousands of people. They don't want to know. Because knowing, when you know better, you do better. But maybe our people don't want to do better. We like going to church on Sundays because our ancestors did it. Not our real ancestors, our immediate ancestors did. We never considered going to church on Sunday until we became slaves.
Right.
Before that was not an option. We didn't give a shit about going to church on Sunday for a white religion decided by King James. You know, every white religion can be documented back to the founder of that religion and why it was founded. And that is what we don't want to know. Because if we really knew why we get our damn asses up on Sunday morning and put on our nice clothes and our beautiful shoes, and we go sit in a building
for
and
3 and 4 hours.
huh?
For 3 and 4 hours.
Yeah, and listen to somebody talk about what we did last night and how messed up we are, and that you get your heaven when you die, and you can't have it today. But if
No,
you died, you get it.
but the pastor can have it. He can have his new car, his new house,
And
his
it's big salary.
his big house in the richest part of town. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody else got to wait, right?
Yep. It's up
And
for
then,
him.
and the church lights got to be turned on, and water bill got to be paid, and give me a break.
But see, why would you you tie yourself up to that when you barely paying your own bills at home?
That's what I'm saying.
And you're not buying some of the things you want because you got your commitment to your church that you're taking care of.
And your 10% tithe, the Bible doesn't say that about.
But every church, 9 out of 10 churches say it, 10%. And I've seen churches that want your W-2s. They do all your everybody in the church got to get their taxes done at the church.
Yeah, they take
You
the.
know, why is it that you got to go through these things, these control mechanisms in order to participate? Because if you don't go through these control mechanisms, you cannot participate. That's the sad part. And it's all about who can control your money. Not just in the church, who can control your money in January for New Year's Day, in December for Christmas, in November for Thanksgiving. And we can go all the way back. And we repeat this every damn year, and we don't get no smarter about it. Sooner or later, we got to get smarter about this shit we've been falling into, this trap, because this trap is what makes us stupid.
I don't know how we do that though.
How do we do what? Get out of it?
Well, if we don't take advantages of the time that we come together, like the Black holidays, to educate, because that's our time.
We can't focus on educating the masses. You can't do it that way. You can only focus on educating individuals, their family, the people in your immediate presence. You can't educate a whole 3,000 flock congregation. You can't educate them. You got 3,000 people in church today, in one church. 10 people can walk out of there and they won't know what the hell they was talked about. You can ask them. The first 10, you can ask 100 people, and 10 people won't be able to tell you. Because it's just a show.
We was going to Windsor Village. My pastor's down in the federal pen, right? Pastor Caldwell.
In the pen.
Yeah, Reverend Caldwell. Huh?
Your pastor in jail?
Well, he's out. He's out now. He's on home arrest.
Oh, okay.
He got 9 years. But we used to leave church on Sunday. It gets hot as hell in Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nothing but Lexuses and BMWs and Mercedes be leaving the church parking lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Old people be sitting over at the bus stop in the heat. Nobody offers them a ride. They just left the church. It's 100 degrees outside.
It's ridiculous, ain't it? It just doesn't. It's uncalled for, unheard of. Stuff that we just don't do. We cannot continue to live this way. And as long as we live this, it's okay to live this way now because it makes them happy. As long as we live this way, they're going to be happy with the way we live because they're getting paid based on how we live. We're not. We're still running around like a rat in a round can. We're not going to change unless we change. If you want to change your circumstances, you got to change your circumstances. And we don't have enough powerful black people in the same place speaking about change. We're always talking about how well somebody did a damn job, but we're not uh, uh, doing the damn job. We're just patting motherfuckers on the back,
But
and they ain't it.
look at our history. Look at the people that made the biggest difference in terms of blackness. Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X. They wasn't white educated.
John Carlos.
Well, he was. You're right. But what I'm saying is, and then look at the W.B. Du Bois's and those kind of guys who was educated at these white colleges.
But they came back.
Yeah. Well, when W.B. Du Bois finally realized what was going on, he died in Ghana. He couldn't live in this country no more.
Mm-hmm. He had to get the hell out. It was so messed up. But see, when you know better, you do better. There's so many black people living abroad right now, they leaving the country. And they're leaving it because this country.
I got a friend. He's going to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. They're leaving. And more people are going to start leaving. And what's going to happen in I'd say 40 years now from now, I'm just throwing out a timeline. The America is going to wake up and say, damn, we done lost 27 million black men and women to other countries because we're not doing something we should be doing. And then all of a sudden they're going to offer another holiday or damn some bullshit. Anyway, man, that's this has been a day. I mean, this is the last show for the year, and I want to thank all of our listeners and viewers for tuning in to the Black News Network, BNN 247. I really hope that you take a moment to like us on Facebook before the year is out, to subscribe to us on YouTube before the year is out, and to tag us on Instagram and Twitter and all that other stuff. All of your support has been greatly appreciated, and we want to thank you for what you've done for BNN 247, because we really have gotten a really good start for 2024, and I think it's going to double down in 2025. So with that, I'm going to give my protege an opportunity to take us on out.
Well, Brother Bey, I want to, it's the end of the year, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this inaugural platform, because you've actually done me a great service, because you have to have a place to put it out there, and this is a place where we put it out there, and people can grab hold to it, and we're growing, and our listeners start calling in, and we can increase the dialogue and increase the conversation. But I want to wish you a happy new year, and look forward to what the new year brings.
All right. Thank you so much. This is the Black News Network, BNN 247, the real voice of Black USA. Broadcasting our last show for 2024. Get ready for 2025 with a lot more exciting shows and news, and hopefully some famous guests will be on our show. So thank you so much for joining in and paying attention to us. And I would like to ask you to see us again on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. for a new broadcast based on whatever you may want to talk about. So if you have a topic, send it to me and we'll get it done. So with that, take care, and I would love to see you again very soon on the Black News Network.